365 Radio. I'm Paul Cadlina alongside Steve May and remotely via Skype, Grayson Grundhafer from our Austin Bureau. He's there. You can see him. He's a good-looking guy. And so we're going to come to you every week at this time, brought to you by Richard Car Motors and, of course, our good friends at Brotherwell Brewing. And, Grayson, I'm sorry you're out of the loop this week again.
He had one last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, not so lucky this week, guys.
There we go. Bummer. So raise one up to another fantasy football week passed and more injuries like Nick Chubb, who was my second-round draft pick in the league. So that's a tough one. And also, cheers to Steve May, who – yes. Who beat me at Smokey's Charger that he's got taped down. He doesn't know how to work any of this stuff, so it's all over the place.
I gave Paul a sound thrashing.
Yes, like a rented mule, like I stole something from him. Unbelievable in our league this week.
Yep, I needed that. So that brings me up to 2-2 in our league. So
drops me to 2-2. I had a good 2-week start. I'll tell you this, and guys, you can comment on this. So I was feeling good about my team. You know, really, I just say my top four players right now. The first couple weeks were Aaron Rodgers, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Josh Jacobs, and Calvin Ridley. Well, fantasy football is a mean lady, and sometimes she'll go south on you, and those guys have been average to nothing, save for Aaron Rodgers, for the last couple weeks.
Yeah, and that the Kansas City New England game was a weird one. Was it 6-3 at halftime?
Yeah.
And so if you were counting on Mahomes to bail you out, if you were trailing going into that game, probably didn't happen for you. Also, need to apologize. We really talked up the Miami-Seattle game last week, and that did not pan out either. So.
In our DraftKings league, Steve, I drafted Mike Gesicki thinking he's going to get 6-7 catches.
Yeah.
He had 2 catches, Steve.
Yep.
He had 2 catches. 2 of them. Grayson, your week. How was your week in fantasy football this week?
Yeah, it wasn't a great week. I pretty much split in my leagues, I would say. But I got to say, at least I wasn't hit by the injury bug this week.
Yeah.
So Eckler and Chubb obviously are the big names that are out now that people are trying to figure out how to replace.
Yeah, so, Austin Eckler and Nick Chubb out. Nick Chubb, it's pretty easy, if you happen to have Kareem Hunt on your roster, which you probably don't. But if you have Kareem Hunt, that's good news for him, even though he's dealing with a bit of a groin. I don't know if you go and get the fishing boat captain that they threw out there, Ernest Johnson back there. I don't know. You maybe do it right now because they're going to run the ball a lot.
Yeah, I picked him up because Kareem Hunt is not an every down back. And Johnson ended up getting, I think, 15, 16 carries in that game. So I picked him up just kind of like, what the heck? Let's see what happens here. Eckler, as Grayson mentioned, Eckler last year really did well for me.
Yeah.
So I made sure I targeted him a lot this year. And first couple weeks he wasn't doing great, but then week 3 kind of saw some signs of life from him, and now he gets the injury. So the question there is who's going to be the main running back? Is it going to be Kelly or Jackson? I'm leaning towards Kelly initially, but if you have some room on your bench to get Jackson, that wouldn't be a bad move either.
Yeah, and Grayson, also, we see some players starting to come back, though, across some leagues. Before the show, you and I were talking. So I've got Jerick McKinnon in the league, and that was a good, solid play for 2 weeks because he was really the only thing I had going. But Raheem Mostert's looking like he's inching toward coming back.
Yeah, that's big news for McKinnon owners, but 3 straight weeks with a touchdown. I mean, as long as Tevin Coleman is out, I think you can still maybe play McKinnon, but Mostert's going to be the guy. I'm really intrigued about the other pickups that Steve talked about between Jackson and, of course, Kelly. Just going to be interesting to see how that unfolds. Kelly, 2 straight weeks with a fumble is not really giving the coaching staff confidence, I don't think.
Yeah, some interesting things going on at the tight end position too, Steve. Robert Tanyan, very available in most leagues, and Aaron Rodgers appears to like him. So
yeah, and honestly, if you look back over Aaron Rodgers' career and then the systems that they've had with McCarthy and I guess it was McCarthy, really didn't throw to the tight end that much. So now with Matt LaFleur, all of a sudden Tanyan pops up, 3 touchdowns. So he won some leagues, and then I know for a fact that he won some people some money in daily fantasy as well.
Yeah. So because again, he's from Indiana State. Nobody's ever heard of him.
Yeah.
And so here you have a guy going off. So if you got him, if you bought low, and I would have thought, here's the thing: I didn't hear Robert Tanyan. Jay Sternberger from A&M was their 2nd-round draft pick just a year ago.
Yeah.
And it should be his time. He was one of those like, well, here you go, Aaron. Here's a big 2nd-round tight end who can catch touchdown passes, and he hasn't caught on yet. But Robert Tanyan sure has.
There he is. And now everybody's going to pick him up this week, and he may get 3 more touchdowns the rest of the season. Who knows?
Yeah. So just got a message from my friend Ryan, who in one of my leagues that I can't read on the air. He's watching the fantasy football show online right now, and he's mad that I sent him a trade and I host a fantasy football show. I don't know. I don't see the deal. I think he feels like I'm trying to take advantage of him.
Like you have some inside
Look,
information.
I'm getting worked in that league because all my players are hurt, and he is doing great. And I'll just tell you this:
What was the trade?
I sent him Mike Thomas for Zeke Elliott, but here's the thing: I initially sent him Juju Smith-Schuster for James Conner, and he said no to that.
Okay.
So I thought I would just swing bigger.
Yeah.
And Michael Thomas is coming back probably this week or next.
You're offering Thomas for Zeke.
Yeah, because I'm loaded at wide receiver.
Okay.
I'm loaded at wide receiver. I've got DK Metcalf and Kenny Galladay and Juju and all. So I can risk that, but I have no running backs, none at all. So I'm trying to negotiate that. He has a lot of running backs.
Yeah.
I know because we were on the phone our entire draft, and he's like, "Should I do this?" Yeah, sure, do it. I would do that. And bam, guess what? Guess who's 4-0 and guess who's 2-2? The guy who answered all the questions on the draft, just talking to his buddy.
Yep.
His trusted friend. Unbelievable. See, here's a life lesson for you. Don't help your friends.
Oh,
in fantasy football.
No,
There's
never.
friends.
No.
This is the last time it's going to happen for him with me. So, last time. He's used up that card.
I have another league I'm playing in with some family members, some cousins, and we're all kind of spread out, and so we started the league, and they'll send me questions like, who should I start? And I'm like, you're playing me this week. I'm not going to help you at all.
You should drop all your players and quit. That's what you should do. All right. So, there's interesting things going on across. You know what I've really found, guys, and I want your opinions on this. Picking up a defense, unless you've got like the Ravens or the Colts or somebody, a defense has been really tough. And a lot of times, unless you're in a really close game, it's not really affecting you. Like it's mostly affecting you negatively.
Yeah, last year the Patriots was the defense that I kind of rode the whole year. But normally that's something I'm switching out almost every week.
Yeah,
based on the matchup and sometimes kicker as well. So this year it does seem to be Indianapolis. That defense is really stout. Pittsburgh looks good, but other than that, I'm moving that all the time.
Well, you might move it out all the time, but sometimes if your league's not Grayson, you run the risk of, okay, I'm going to drop this defense and play a matchup. If you don't get the better one back that you might want their matchup again the next week, because there's some defenses that are really bad, like the Dallas Cowboys, then you might wind up going, well, the Cowboys are playing the Giants. I guess I got to put them in, but it's tough. I mean, I think the defenses this year are a little more hard to play those matchups because there's a lot of really, really bad ones, Grayson.
Yeah, there definitely are, and it's weird. Going back a few years, you had Saxonville there in Jacksonville. You had the Bears defense for a year. You had the Patriots last year. But this year, I don't think there is a dominant defense. And I'm a big Colts fan, and I still don't believe that there is a dominant defense. I just don't think that you can look at the Colts, who they've played, and really say that those are good offenses that they've shut down when you look at Vikings, Jets, and Bears for 3 straight weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not a good look. That's not a good, and it's tough. It's really tough to figure out those plays. But if you have questions for us, give us a call or text, or a text. I'm sorry, 254-339-1122, and we'll answer it. We answered Hobbs' question last week. I got to follow up with him and see what he decided to do. He hasn't told me yet.
Yeah.
But he had a very ornate trade that we had to debate. 2 out of 3 of us gave him the thumbs up, and Grayson, who plays in more leagues like that, said no, it wasn't worth it in the long term. So I don't really play in the salary cap leagues. I haven't done that. Steve doesn't either. No. Grayson's a little more savvy to that regard. So that's what we did there. This is the Fantasy Football Show brought to you by Brotherwell Brewing. When we come back, I want to dive a little bit longer this week into the daily fantasy because we did a showdown league last week, and we made a tactical error. And we could have corrected it, but didn't. Okay. And Jamison Crowder, and I don't know how much it would have helped us, but believe me, our team was awful. I'm sure like other guys, if you were just scrolling down, like looking at lineups, you're like, who's this idiot? Paul Catalina. He's a joke. I hope he doesn't host a fantasy football show. That would be lame. He would be not good at that at all. This is the Fantasy Football Show brought to you by Richard Car Motors and our good friends at Brotherwell Brewing on Sikkim 365 Radio.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sikkim 365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingram with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas, familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Show here on Sikkim 365 Radio, brought to you by Brotherwell Brewing and Richard Car Motors. And the Brotherwell guys were in here last week, and they brought us some beer, which we are always drinking during the show.
Yep.
I'm drinking it this week. I went 2-1, and I'm going to tell you, since my friend Ryan is watching the show, and he's in that league, I ran up against a situation that you guys as commissioners will have understand. We have a guy who's in the military. He set his lineup for the first couple weeks. He is now indisposed. He did not tell us, and I don't think he can, that he's going away.
Right.
Because he's that kind of guy in the military. So he has not set his lineup for the last 2 weeks, and Saquon Barkley was his pick, and so he is not in there. So because there was a goose egg on the board in that regard last week for him, I didn't notice until game time this week when Ryan alerted me to it. And I pretty much have to just leave it be now for the rest of the year, don't I?
Yeah.
Until he comes back and maybe he can fight his way out of it. But
that's a tough one. Not, if you'd have been
alerted to it.
Yeah, you could have adjusted it for him.
Yeah.
But the people that he's played, did he win or lose?
He lost both weeks.
Yeah.
Although there was a moment where he was playing me when my team was doing so poorly, I thought, am I going to lose to a guy that has this going on? He dropped it. I know he's active because he dropped his kicker and then picked up another one, and then he got called out.
Yeah. And
his kicker is just sitting on his bench. So
I think at this point you just need to leave the roster as is, to be fair.
Yeah, it is. And I hated to get a win that way.
Yeah.
I really hated it. I hated it. It was upsetting to me. Just hated it. All right, so this is the segment we get into daily fantasy football on here. I want to spend a little more time on that this week because we did a showdown last week between the Broncos and Jets. And before the game started, we did not think, Grayson, that Jamison Crowder was going to play. So we chose Braxton Berrios,
yes,
who was going to start for him based on he's going to start. The value is really good. We could spend some of the extra money in another spot. Grayson, how did that go for us?
Absolutely horrible. And I knew it immediately. When I saw that he was activated, I was like, oh, no. Oh, no, we're in trouble. Hopefully Paul is making the executive decision to make a change to that lineup because there was no way Berrios was going to do much with Crowder there. That was just a miss, guys.
So here's what happened last week. I was here at the studio late on Thursday night recording a podcast with a Browns podcast group. I have a podcast on the Cowboys with Orlando Scandrick. Believe in the Cowboys. Please like and subscribe wherever you get podcasts. But so I was we do cross promotional stuff every week. So Orlando's tough to nail down. So they'll gladly take their second choice in me. But I do like I did a Giants one last night. Well, I was sitting here in this exact spot during the first 30 minutes of that game. Not looking at anything, just trying to be on Skype and be with these guys in the moment of this Browns podcast. And I got home, and immediately when I got home and turned on the game, Jamison Crowder had like a 19-yard catch, and I went, "Well, yep,
there goes that." Yep.
I could have changed that out about an hour ago; it would have been fine. We'd have had the money to do it. So here's a little piece of advice: don't let the guy in charge of if you're doing a three-person showdown like we are, which I don't think you would. Make sure you check those things right before the game because the NFL actually this year, I feel like they've lessened the restrictions on their injury. There are seemingly more rules on injury reporting, but the NFL is kind of letting everybody just do what they want to this year. So, there are I think. Last week I waited right up until Monday night, like I was worried about Calvin Ridley because they didn't say anything about it, and I was like, well, he got a goose egg. He might as well have not played,
right,
but I was worried right up until the last moment about that. So it's really tough. Okay, so this week, let's go ahead and get in the Showdown League, and then we'll get into our daily fantasy picks. All right, so this week it is Bears and Bucks on Thursday Night Football
at Chicago.
Yes, at Chicago. All
right.
And it's not cold enough yet to really affect the Bucks.
No.
By the way, my trade was just rejected.
Oh.
Not a shock. Not a shock. He's not going to send me a counteroffer either. He's going to make me work for this. Yeah. So, all right. So let's start off, guys. Grayson, I'll give you the first pick. Who is our captain in this league where we have $50,000 to put a team together of, 6 guys?
Okay, so I think I'll go with a kind of, I guess, middle-of-the-road pick. I'll let you all decide who you want to take at the high end, but I definitely want Scotty Miller with Chris Godwin out. I think that he's going to get a lot of targets and a lot of opportunities. Justin Watson is also out. Should be plenty of opportunities for Scotty Miller. All
right, I'll go next, and then Steve, I'll let you have the 2 picks on the way back.
Okay.
Back. I trust you that. I'm gonna go with Mike Evans here. Every time Godwin's out, Evans feasts.
Yeah.
Okay, we have $30,100 left.
Okay.
By the way, Scotty Miller cost more.
When you put him in the captain spot, it adds a multiplier.
Well, and I can change that. We might be able to change.
I think that's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's do Ronald Jones.
Okay.
What do we got left?
$22,700 left.
Okay. And how much is Anthony Miller?
Anthony Miller is $6,400.
Ooh. How much is Robinson?
$10,600.
And what's Montgomery?
Montgomery is $7,800.
Wow. Okay. Let's go Miller.
Okay. Anthony Miller. We are a team full of Millers. Okay. You know what? Part of me wants to go value at tight end, like maybe get Gronk. And, now that O.J. Howard's out for the year, Gronk's value will go up. But then I'm worried about Cameron Brate, who's been kind of hawking touchdowns from O.J. Howard from, the entire time. And look, I think Cameron Brate, Jameis Winston just liked him better than O.J. Howard. Tom Brady doesn't really hone in all that much. So I think I'm going to go to Gronk here. I think Gronk at 5,800 and gives us a lot. We have $10,500 left, so that only takes us out of 2 players for this. So the only people we can't get right now are Allen Robinson at 10,600 and Tom Brady at 11,200.
Oh man, I really want Allen Robinson.
Yeah, look, we can move some stuff around. Maybe. I mean, we can.
Yeah, I think we. I mean, is there? Although I like the guys that we have currently. If we're not going to go Allen Robinson, then I guess we go David Montgomery. But if we can move it around to get A-Rob, I think that'd be wise.
Well, if I take out Scotty Miller, we could probably do it.
Take out Miller.
Yeah. So
No, I put Robinson in the captain spot. Let's see what happens.
the 15-9. Oh, so, okay. But we could put Montgomery in the captain spot, and that's 11-7. And then, no, we're still out of it. So, hold on. Well, maybe we've put Gronk in the captain spot. Hold on.
Ooh.
If that hits, you're going to win some money.
Yeah. So,
but if odds are it's not.
All right. So hold on. Let's try this. Let's see. Rojo. Hold on. Wait. No. Let's go to captain. All right. That's what I'm going to do. All right. 11-1. Let's see. Allen Robinson. I'm going to try to make this work.
All right. So we got 12-5 left.
Yeah. So, yeah, we can't do Gronk at that number, but we could do the Buccaneers defense.
That may not be bad, yeah.
Yeah, or the Bears defense, but or Cameron Brate for a bunch less. So yeah, we're just out of Gronk. So you want to let's go ahead, and since I'll make the pick since Gronk was my guy. I'll just say let's do the Bucs defense, and there we go. So Ronald Jones is our captain, Mike Evans, Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller, Scotty Miller, and the Bucs defense. That's our team.
All right.
So we have 2 Bears and 3 Bucs on this. So
sounds good.
All right, here we go.
Let's do it. I like that team a lot better than the last week's.
Yeah, I mean, somebody on this roster is going to score a touchdown this week.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to score a touchdown in that league. All right, guys, Daily Fantasy. Steve, guys that you like for this week in Daily Fantasy.
So if there's ever a week to use Daniel Jones in season long or in Daily Fantasy, this might be the week to do it because he is going against the Cowboy defense. So Daniel Jones is sitting there at 5,400 on DraftKings. That's a great price. If you don't want to use him, Matt Ryan is in there at 6,100. Derek Carr is at 53. So for quarterbacks, I think those are good plays. Running back Kareem Hunt, as we mentioned, he's only coming in at 6,500 on DraftKings. There's a lot of value there. Also, James Conner with Pittsburgh. I really like him going up against the Eagles. He's at 6,900. Some receivers, going back to the theme with the Giants, Darius Slayton is priced at 4,800. That's a great price for a receiver that's going against a really bad defense. I mean,
the Cowboys are probably going to win this game 43 to something.
I was about to say.
But the something is not going to be 13. It's going to be 24.
Yeah. We can only base it on what we've seen so far, and everything that they've shown us is that they can't stop anybody. So, yeah, it's going to, the over-under, I think, is, where'd it go? Over-under for this game is 54, which is one of the higher ones. So Slayton is a great bargain. I also like Robert Woods with the Rams. He's at 6,400. A couple of tight ends. I like Logan Thomas with the Redskins, and again, Evan Ingram with the Giants.
Yeah, especially there. Grayson, anything to add on some guys that you've targeted this week in Daily Fantasy?
Yeah, adding another quarterback to the mix at 5,900, Teddy Bridgewater versus the Atlanta Falcons. Really like that play. I think Teddy can be a sneaky good pickup. He was really good this past week. At running back, a guy that we talked about a little bit, Paul, Kenyon Drake versus the Jets. I think this could maybe be his breakout week, potentially. I also kind of like Jamison Crowder against the Cardinals. He seems like the only guy that's getting targeted there. I think he'd be a good pickup. They're going to be playing from behind. And then finally, on my team, the Colts, I really like Mo Alley Cox for 4,200 against the Cleveland Browns. He's actually turned into like their number one target, it seems like. So keep an eye on him if you want to get someone really cheap at the tight end position.
Yeah, Philip Rivers likes him. It looks like he does. He likes him. He trusts him. And
he's always liked throwing to tight ends. And San Diego, L.A., he had Antonio Gates and then Hunter Henry. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I want to just piggyback on what he said about Kenyon Drake. Everything we're seeing, reading about Arizona for daily fantasy or get back to season long, this is probably a make or break week for Drake. Chase Edmonds has really been doing well.
He's kind of a Kingsbury back. So yeah.
So if Drake should struggle this week, I have Edmonds on several of my teams just sitting there on the bench. So, but I do like Drake, as Grayson said, for daily fantasy. But just as waivers process this week, if you got room for Edmonds, that may not be a bad play.
Yeah. So you're saying right now you like Drake.
I like the Drake.
You like the Drake. Love the Drake?
I don't love the Drake.
You don't love the Drake?
No.
You don't love the Drake. See, Grayson might be too young to get that Seinfeld reference.
I love Drake. I don't know about the Drake.
Yeah. See, Grayson doesn't know. He's thinking right now of, he's gonna call me on his cell phone. Yeah, that's what he's thinking right there. So again, you know what? I by the way, I'm having a lot of fun drafting these showdown lineups with you. So I suggest get something together with your friends. Do a three-person snake draft and do a showdown lineup. Again, it's $4. We have a chance to win like $400,000. So,
Yep, and another thing to look at for daily fantasy, again, if you're playing in the bigger contests, is stacking, which we talked about before. So I know a popular stack for this week, Grayson mentioned Bridgewater, but Bridgewater, Davis, and Robbie Anderson stack is going to be really popular. For the Texans, Deshaun Watson, Johnson, and Fuller stack should do well. So yeah.
You think they might win because the Wicked Witch is dead?
There's data. I was listening today, different radio shows. There is actually data that shows when a team changes coaches like they've just done, that first game with the new coach, they usually do really well because there's a lot of emotion. They want to prove that it wasn't the players. So I expect the Texans to win this week.
Yeah, and actually just getting into that, Grayson, a little bit, from a fantasy perspective, there are guys on the Texans that you should be able to play and get something out of just based on their talent level. Bill O'Brien was really kind of holding them back. And, of course, the offensive coordinator who's calling all those crappy plays is still there. But you would think that maybe because Bill O'Brien's not there and apparently he just ruled with an iron fist, that some of those guys, maybe even, Darren Fells might step up and be, at least if you've got to, sub out your tight end, a valuable play.
Yeah, potentially. I think this is similar to the Colts situation where they've played the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Steelers. Those are tough matchups for anyone right now. And so I think they'll be better just based on that. I also think Brandon Cooks and Will Fuller and David Johnson and, like you said, Fells and Akins, they have weapons. They just haven't really been able to get everything clicking yet. And we'll see if it happens. I think we're also finding out how valuable DeAndre Hopkins was to this offense.
Yeah. Well,
you think?
In the first week, it's almost like you said, look, Cliff, I know you want to throw me the ball a lot, but if you can get me over 10, that'd be great. It's like
get 13 that first
13
week?
or 14, something like that. And I know he hasn't equaled that, but it's going to happen a couple more times this year. And as good as Will Fuller can be at times, they're never going to throw him the ball 14 times. No. They're never going to throw the ball to Brandon Cooks 14 times or Kiki Kuti or Kenny Stills.
It's just been weird because Watson isn't even running that much. So it's just I do think, like I said, they're playing Jacksonville. I think that game has a high over-under number, and that's something else. Just another little tip when you're looking at building your rosters for daily fantasy. Look to see what Vegas has set the over-under at, and you want to go for games that have the highest one. What game do you think has the highest over-under this week?
Let's see. Well, can I just look at the games?
Yes.
Okay. Let me look at all the games so I don't So I'm not going to be like Buffalo and Cleveland. I don't know. Okay, so none of this is all right. The highest over under. I can tell you what it's not. A couple times. Is it New York and Dallas?
Close.
Okay.
The highest one right now is Minnesota, Seattle.
That was my second guess.
It's at
That
57.
was gonna be my guess.
57.5. Which one has the lowest? And not counting the games that's something else we got to mention. Buffalo and Tennessee, they are not going to play this week.
Oh, that's not going to happen.
No, there's no way.
There's no way.
So take that out. So what game?
Tennessee might have to forfeit that game.
Yeah,
like seriously.
for punishment. Yeah.
They might have to forfeit the game for punishment for working out at an elementary school. Against. Let's see.
What game has the lowest over under?
The lowest over under. Jacksonville and Houston?
No.
Oh, you said that.
Broncos, Patriots.
No, that one right now actually has no over-under because that game's in danger of not happening also.
Oh, because of Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Right.
Okay, let's see.
It's at
Miami and San Francisco?
Nope, it is Philadelphia and Pittsburgh.
Well, see, I thought Pittsburgh. I saw that game and I thought, well, Pittsburgh, they've got some offense.
Yeah.
I mean, but I guess if Philadelphia's is so bad to hit the over, Pittsburgh would have to roll it.
It's 43.5.
Yeah.
So they're guessing a low-scoring game with Pittsburgh winning.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, going back to my James Conner pick for daily fantasy, if Pittsburgh gets the lead, Conner should have a big game.
Well, and look, I still think that the Ben Roethlisberger and the wide receivers are due for some pretty nice weeks, week in and week out, as long as he's healthy and in there. Now, once Landry Jones comes back in, then let's just forget about that. When Ben's arm falls off, in game 9 or 10 this year, then we have to worry about that. But so far, I'm surprised about one of the players I'm surprised about is Juju Smith-Schuster. He's the number one receiver there, but they've been spreading it around a little bit more.
Yeah.
And is he the number one, Paul?
I mean, he should be. I mean, you would think he was, but Deontay Johnson, But Deontay Johnson is maybe a little more like Antonio Brown, stature-wise and skill set-wise, and that was the guy who was setting catch records for them. So I don't know. I mean, it shifts. Ben Roethlisberger is a new favorite all the time.
He's been throwing it around. Eric Ebron's been doing well. There. So that's just the way the offense is going right now. But Juju is the number one receiver there, and he's got some big games. Yeah, might have to be my Eric Ebron might have to be my fantasy tight end this week because T.J. Hawkinson is on bye. Not a bad pick.
Not a bad. So, we'll see. I don't know. I'm in a tailspin now, Steve. I'm in a tailspin. I don't know how to get out of it. It's bad. Nick Chubb, I'm telling you, that Nick Chubb thing, when he got up, and again, I'm watching my favorite team, the Cowboys, and he gets up, and I'm thinking, oh, he's going to be this looks bad. And in my mind, I'm like, well, maybe that's good for the Cowboys, and that, it didn't matter. I mean, anybody could have done it. But I immediately thought, like, well, crap. No Michael Thomas and no Nick Chubb.
I think I could have come in and on maybe 6 or 7 carries, probably got about 30 yards.
That's 5 yards a carry. I don't know if you're going 5 yards a carry.
All right, 20 yards.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going. I don't know if you're going 5 or 4 yards a carry. It was.
That's how bad they are, Paul.
But the Cowboys' defense is bad. They're bad enough to where it does not matter who they are playing for the rest of the year. They should not be picked up.
How many games has Demarcus Lawrence gone without a sack?
I believe it's 8.
12.
Okay,
that's
12.
what I heard this week.
Yeah, I think it's actually 8, but it's only like 1 in the last 12.
Okay.
So it's like it's been 8 games since it, but he before that he only had 1 in the 4 games. Yeah. Preceding that. Yeah. So maybe good news on the horizon for the Cowboys. Since the only player that's been good for them all year is Alden Smith, Randy Gregory will be playing for them in about 3 weeks. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe he comes and fits in that defense, which I don't understand what Mike McCarthy was thinking. I have nothing against Mike Nolan. I'm sure Mike Nolan could be fine other places. Yeah. This is not about Mike Nolan personally or his abilities as a coach. They stuck him with a bunch of 4-3 players and got him 1-3-4 guy in Alden Smith. Yep. Everybody else is a 4-3 player, and then none of them know what to do on defense, and they're all freelancing. Yeah.
They need Van Der Esch back too, Paul. He's a big loss for them.
But here's the thing. the 25 plays or so that Van Der Esch played, the Rams were breaking their foot off in his ass.
Yeah.
So I don't know like how good. I mean, and I like Van Der Esch. I think he's great.
Yeah.
But everybody's regressed. Jalen Smith has regressed.
Yes.
I mean, Demarcus Lawrence is not the same. Everson Griffin. There's a reason that nobody signed him. The word gets out on guys sometimes. Dontari Poe has been awful. Like,
if you go and watch that reverse that Odell Beckham ran to kind of seal it, if you watch in slow motion, you see Cowboy defenders just running almost away from the action.
The only one who knew what was going on was Alden Smith.
Yeah.
The guy who, remind you, drank his way out of the league 5 years ago and is now just back.
Yeah.
Like, that should tell you something about this Cowboy defense.
Yeah. Yep.
That they had players that drank themselves out of the league 5 years ago. He's their best player. And I'm not saying that, like, he's been great for them.
Yeah.
I mean, he's leading the league in sacks. He's been fantastic. The 10 other guys that are on the field with him at any given time have been terrible.
Yes.
And they know it. They've been chirping at people on Twitter. Don't pick up the Cowboys defense for any reason.
No.
Don't pick up the Cowboys defense if, because of COVID, the rest of the league gets wiped out and they start calling up D3 teams who aren't playing. Like, don't. Mary Hardin Baylor gets to play the Cowboys. They're going to score some points.
Yes.
They're going to score some points. That's how, I know it's hyperbolic, but that's how it is. All right, we'll take a break right here. We'll come back. Start them, sit them. Who should you avoid? Who are some smart plays with Steve and Grayson here? This is the Fantasy Football Show, brought to you by Richard Carr, Buick, GMC, Cadillac, and Brotherwell Brewing. I'm having some of the Bridge Street Vit right now. Steve's got the Hidden Herd.
Yep.
Delicious. Right down the street, 400 East Bridge Street, right down from us here at 101 Elm. This is the Fantasy Football Show on Sikkim 365 Radio.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sikkim 365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingram with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Welcome back into the Fantasy Football Show here on Sikkim 365 Radio. Paul Catalina, Steve May, Grayson Grundhafer at the Austin Bureau. Is that a good name for your apartment? That we can just call it the Austin Bureau?
I like that. That's got a good ring to it.
Yeah, the Austin Bureau of Sikkim 365. He's down there. And look, just a plug for our website, Sikkim365.com. Get a premium membership. This obviously content is free, but Grayson and I both write for the website, and Grayson does a great job covering recruiting and a lot of other things. But if you want some inside scoop on recruiting, Grayson, Brian Etheridge all write great things for our website. Craig Smoke and I write things for the website. Ashley Hodge is doing the pop quiz now, which has been really fun. So true or false, like there's so many cool things in the premium content and on the message boards, and really averages what, about $13 a month, Grayson? Like when you break it down, it's about $13 a month, all access to our premium content where you can download the app, on the App Store or Google Play. It's fantastic. All of our content is loaded there. So wherever you want to get our information, you can watch it on YouTube, which I hope you're doing right now or later, Facebook Live, Periscope, We're everywhere. Armstrong Sims produces pretty much everything we do here. Armstrong is not a fantasy football player.
No, I'm not. I don't really watch the NFL at all, but I should, and then bring my picks and have y'all tell me what to do. Though.
Yeah. So
is Periscope still a thing?
Well, Twitter. I guess it's Twitter Live now.
Yeah, I mean
it's Twitter Live.
It's Periscope, but it goes through Twitter. So
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's right. Like Twitter owns it. So
we're on YouTube right now, Facebook, and Twitter. So.
Yeah, so we're all there wherever your social media. And look, I'm trying to figure out how we can do this the show on Snapchat. I really want to hit the sorority crowd that's into fantasy football.
There you
like
go.
we just Snapchat them quick little. What is it? 8 seconds on Snapchat?
I don't even know about Snapchat.
Yeah,
either.
see, Armstrong is too cool for Snapchat, like all of us are. Hold on, Grayson, are you on Snapchat?
Yeah, I used to be. Not anymore. It used to be a big thing when I was a little younger.
Yeah, Grayson outgrew it.
My only exposure to it has been with my children.
Yeah.
And one time it was banned in the household, but then once the kids got a little bit older and more responsible, they were allowed to have it back. But I hear all the cool kids are on AOL or CompuServe.
I'm big into Alta Vista. I don't know where that one went. So, all right. So start 'em, sit 'em this week. You know what, Steve? I'm not in our league. I'm gonna avoid this. I'm gonna avoid that. I'm not gonna ask you advice. It would not be fair.
That's fine.
To the other people in our league. I don't want to start a controversy. I don't want to start a thing. I put you on YouTube, and now I've made you this big internet star like Charlie Bit My Finger, and then people are going to say you're helping him out because I've raised your social profile.
Yes.
All right. So, all right. This week, this is my conundrum. With no trade happening, I know what I have to do at running back. I'm locked in.
So this is your other league?
This is my other league.
Okay.
All right. So I've got Matt Ryan or Drew Brees, and I have yet to make the right call.
That is a tough one. I mean,
Matt Ryan plays Carolina. Yeah. Drew Brees is against the Chargers.
When you're looking at it kind of a top-down overall, you're in good shape for your quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Which can be a blessing and a curse because, as you said, it's hard to make the right pick. I would lean towards Matt Ryan in that one.
Even with Ridley and Jones banged up is what I'm concerned about.
Yeah,
All right.
I still would.
Grayson, your vote.
If Drew Brees has Michael Thomas, I'm playing Drew Brees 100%.
Yeah.
Especially because Julio's probably not going to play this week, and Matt Ryan has not been good without Julio Jones. So, that would be my condition probably.
Here's the thing. I never had any emotion towards Matt Ryan. I never had emotion. I'm starting to hate him.
Yeah.
And, I know it's irrational. He hasn't done anything to me. But he started to drive me nuts because – I can't. I'm never going to dislike Drew Brees. I love Drew Brees. I've met him several times. We've interviewed him. Texas Sports Hall of Famer. There's nothing outside of accidentally misspeaking on Dana White's podcast one time about kneeling. I don't think there's much bad you can say about Drew Brees.
Yeah.
So
on these rankings here, they have Ryan at 8 and Brees at 10.
Okay, so I'm splitting hairs.
It's probably going to end up being pretty close, but Grayson's right. If Thomas should come back, and I guess it kind of looks like he's trending that way. Now there is a chance that game might get moved because of the hurricane.
Okay, to Indianapolis.
Yeah, I read that today. So how does that affect things? Maybe a little bit, but something to look out for there.
Helps Drew in a dome.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
It is Drew in a dome. All right. So start him, sit him.
Yep. So I mentioned him earlier, and kind of jokingly, but again, if you need a quarterback this week, let's say you have Josh Allen or you have Tannehill. Mm-hmm. Again, that game probably isn't going to happen. So you're looking there, and you got to pick somebody up. Chances are Daniel Jones is probably available. So this might be the only week to grab him off waivers and plug him in there because he's going to get yards. They're going to score.
Well, and here's the other thing. They're probably going to be playing from behind.
Yeah.
I mean, assuming the Cowboys actually take the lead early this week and keep it, they're going to be playing from behind, at least for part of that game, I assume, just because their offense cannot match the Cowboys' offense at all. There's outside of maybe some offensive linemen that the Cowboys having to play undrafted right. Even then, the Giants' offensive line is nothing to write home about.
Right.
There's not a player on the Giants outside of Evan Ingram over Dalton Schultz, and Dalton Schultz is playing well, that you would say, I'm absolutely doing this?
Yeah. So
no wide receivers, no running backs, not a quarterback.
Right. So that might be a sneaky play. I'm not going to mention the quarterbacks at the top. If you have Wilson, Mahomes, Jackson, Prescott, you're playing them.
Yeah.
Another one I kind of like, Jared Goff against the Redskins.
The Washington football team.
Yes. I would not play. I think Joe Burrow is probably going to struggle against Baltimore this week. So those are my quarterbacks.
All right, Grayson. Anybody in quarterbacks?
Yeah, I mentioned Teddy Bridgewater as a sneaky play. I mean, obviously, if you have some of the guys in the top 10, you're probably going to play them over him. But if you're in trouble at quarterback, I actually kind of like him this week. I like the area kind of where, like Jared Goff, I think that's another good one against Washington. Those are two that I kind of like. And I actually disagree a little bit with Steve about Burrow. I actually think they're going to be down early and often in that game. And I think he might throw 40 times and therefore rack up some meaningless points.
All right, let's go to running backs, Steve. Who you got?
Running backs, I like James Robinson against Houston. He's been really solid so far. I actually like David Johnson. I think we talked about him last week, a couple weeks ago with Houston. I think this is kind of a make-or-break week for him, but I think he's going to do well. We mentioned McKinnon earlier going up against the Dolphins. I think that's a great play. Ones I would avoid would be I don't really like Gaskin against the 49ers. The Arizona running back situation is just very frustrating right now. Again, Drake might be a great play this week, but he might.
But daily fantasy is also a little bit different than than your daily fantasy. You can be a little more liberal with things.
The Baltimore running back situation is also frustrating. Mark Ingram, Dobbins. I have Dobbins on multiple rosters because I thought kind of by now he might have taken over. But the main running back on that team is Lamar Jackson. Yeah. So if you have other play, I played Dobbins this last week because I had to, and he got me 2 points. So I would try to avoid that. Baltimore.
Boo, Steve.
Sorry. Mixon bailed me out on that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Grace, running backs.
Yeah, I really like Antonio Gibson this week against the Rams. Kyle Allen loves to throw the ball to the running back, as we saw with Christian McCaffrey a year ago. So I think he could be a sneaky play, especially in PPR leagues or half PPR leagues. I like Ronald Jones, who's on our team this week against Chicago. It seems like he's going to get all the carries. I'm kind of hoping Keyshawn Vaughn can stay away and allow Ronald Jones to really thrive as that number one running back this week. As far as guys that I don't really like, I agree with Myles Gaskin. I think he's a sit this week. I'm not confident in that play. And another one who I think a lot of people are targeting to play this week that I'm kind of in a wait-and-see approach with is Damian Harris in New England. He had a great week last week, but there were a lot of carries to go around. I would kind of sit back and watch that before starting him immediately unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah, Sonny Michel out on IR, so
he's out, but I think we.
That does at least take one factor out of the puddle that is there. But because it's going to be James White and Burkhead and Harris. And then here's the other thing that's going to happen. He's going to throw they'll throw for a Brandon Bolden. I don't know if he's on the roster right now, but there'll be a touchdown that Brandon Bolden or the damn fullback scores.
Yeah, somebody
because after Harris or Burkhead gets them down the field, and we don't know if Cam's going to play this week or not yet.
Right.
So and that we don't know if that game's even going to be played as well. Because of Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah, I think that of the games that are in jeopardy, definitely Buffalo and Tennessee, I just do not see how that's going to happen. But then the New England game, I also think, is in jeopardy. But I'm convinced that Bill Belichick, he would never say it, but I think he likes screwing over fantasy players. And so his running backs, like this week, I could see a lineman lining up as fullback and getting the handoff and scoring a 1-yard touchdown just because Belichick knows that's going to upset people. So
yeah, wide receivers. Interesting things going on in Atlanta with wide receivers with Ridley and Jones banged up. Russell Gage, I guess, is the guy you'd pick up if you're really concerned about it or you're getting a pinch with that. But even then, I think you're probably just better off going with somebody else.
Yeah, I like Gage. Hayden Hurst may step up a little bit at the tight end. Some other receivers I already mentioned. Again, the Dallas game. I think Slayton could really go off and get a lot of catches. I actually like T.Y. Hilton against Cleveland. I don't think that Cleveland defense is all that great.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah.
They have one good player. They have Myles Garrett.
Yep. So I like both of those. Some that I don't like McLaurin against the Rams. Who knows how that quarterback change is going to go out. You know, they switched from Haskins to Allen, Kyle Allen, and it's just really iffy. So I would kind of shy away from that one. I'm also not big on Keenan Allen against the Saints this week.
All right, Grayson, anything to add there?
Yeah, Deontay Johnson with Pittsburgh and Philly. I really like him, guys. He's getting a lot of targets when he's been healthy. He got hurt last week, so that kind of skews his numbers, but he's been really, really consistent for that team. For the Giants, I'm going to go a different route with a little bit more of a sleeper with Golden Tate.
Yeah.
He's gotten quite a few targets. I think he could have a good week. Also, keep an eye on Laviska Shenault in Jacksonville against Houston. I think he should have a pretty good week. Guys I don't really like, I'm not a huge fan of Michael Gallup this week. I'm starting to lean towards I may not play him ever. Just think he's the fourth guy in that offense, to be honest. He'll have big weeks, but he's also going to disappoint you more times than not. And also, I don't love Devontae Parker this week at San Francisco.
Michael Gallup is a fantastic receiver, and he's probably going to have close to 1,000 yards receiving when it's all said and done. But he won't be able to do it week in and week out just because of all the weapons. And he's kind of feeling, and I think he's a better player than this. And this is saying a lot because they won a Super Bowl with this guy. He's a better version of Alvin Harper because Harper was a one-trick pony. Harper was just go get it and take the receivers away and beat them deep. And we saw that when he left Troy Aikman and went to play for Vinny Testaverde.
Yes.
There was nothing that Harper could do, even moving back close home to Frostproof, Florida, where he's from. But Michael Gallup can do. I mean, and of course the Cowboys are lining up the receivers all over and creating matchup nightmares for people.
Yep. Another receiver we did mention with Atlanta, and you'll see him popping up on Daily Fantasy. He may actually fit in to a lineup if you've got it built and you're running out of some money. Zacchaeus.
Yeah.
If Jones and Ridley are out, then Zacchaeus, the wee little man.
Yeah.
Little Sunday school reference there for those that went to Sunday school when they were younger. May be the guy.
All right. Okay, so tight ends.
Tight ends, yeah. We mentioned Ebron with Pittsburgh. I really like where'd he go? Johnny Smith, again, if that game happens. But, again, it's probably not. So if you have Johnny Smith like I do on some rosters, you may have to make a different play there. I really like Hunter Henry.
Yeah.
This week against the Saints. I think he may prove to be Herbert's number one target.
Well, and Justin Herbert's been excellent really so far.
Yep.
And I kind of that surprised me. I thought he was going to be. I never thought he was going to be bad. I just thought he might be a little bit of a, like a wait and see guy.
Yeah. And one that I was shy away from. He's just been a huge disappointment. They gave him a big contract. Austin Hooper.
Yeah.
With the Browns. He's been underperforming, and they're going against the top defense with the Colts this week, so I would shy away from Hooper.
All right, anybody in the tight ends?
Yeah, I really like a matchup in particular for the tight ends, and that is Dalton Schultz and Evan Ingram, both in that Dallas Giants matchup. I think you're going to get a lot of receptions out of both of those guys. And Schultz is turning into a guy that I think everyone wanted Blake Jarwin to be before he got hurt. I think he's a guy that could legitimately be a top 8 tight end by the end of the season. I'm really liking what I've seen from him. A guy that I may have some question marks about is Mike Gesicki at San Francisco. Not big on him this week.
Yeah, let me down last week a lot.
Let me mention some waiver moves just real quick. Some leagues already processed this morning. A lot of leagues will process tonight and into the morning. So if you need some help, again, if you got some players on these games that may not play, Damian Harris is probably out there for running back. Justin Jackson, we already mentioned him. And we mentioned Dearness Johnson. So those are 3 running backs you could grab this week, plug him in. They're probably going to get you some points. Receivers, Hunter Renfrow has been doing well in Vegas. We mentioned Scotty Miller.
PPR especially for him,
Scotty Miller we mentioned with the Buccaneers. And then T. Higgins, who we haven't mentioned, surprisingly, but last couple of weeks he's been lighting it up, and Joe Burrows really seems to like him. So T. Higgins is available in a lot of waivers.
All right, Grayson, sorry you couldn't have a beer again this week. We'll try to remedy that next time. Steve, thank you as always. This content, if you're coming in late, always available online and on our app and everything. It'll be there for you whenever you want it throughout the week. We'll put it right back on the app, and it'll play right up until Sunday morning at about 10:30. We play it on the app. We redo it live, so it'll come back on then. This is the Fantasy Football Show on Sikkim 365 Radio. Thank you so much to Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac, and Brotherwell Brewing as we take one final sip and say goodbye on the Fantasy Football Show for one more week. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.